Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. You have found the Gamer Social Club podcast. I am your host, Nathan, aka One Hot Dragon, and I am joined by none other than Marcus, the Husky Hokage. How are you today, Marcus?
I'm doing good, Nathan. Glad to be here, man. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm waking up. But I'm here. I'm here. And I am also joined by, I'll save it for the second one just to spare you the pain. I'm joined by the
Oh,
casualties of gaming. How are
oh
you
no,
today, Russell?
you could have totally gone with the emulation name, but
Oh.
I am okay. It's Thursday instead of Friday, so this is
Yep.
fucking weird, but
Yep.
I am all right. Just covering news and working on playthroughs of all these Zelda games for the Game Boy units. So
Oh, hell yeah, that's
fun stuff.
awesome.
Yeah, I finished Link's Awakening, and now I'm on Oracle of Ages Seasons. So
Oh, sick. Okay, okay. So today we are going to talk about the Indiana Jones reviews. They just dropped about an hour ago, as of recording this, and then X Defiant is getting shut down. There will not be an Elden Ring 2, or there's not looking like there's going to be an Elden Ring 2. PlayStation Portal and Astro Bot is a success. So, but before we hop into that, let me tell you about the Gamers Social Club. The Gamers Social Club is a place where gamers from all around the world come and share their love for video games together in a positive environment. Our goal is to give gamers a platform to share their experiences, to add to the conversation in the games industry, to give more gamers a sense of community, and bring a little more happiness into your life. So, the game of the month this month has been chosen. It is Atlas Fallen. So, if you guys want to get into Atlas Fallen with along with us as a part of our book club, please join our Discord and join that conversation as we start to go through that. If you're not too busy with Indiana Jones, that is, or Marvel Rivals, because Marvel Rivals drops in the next handful of hours as of recording this. So, big week, but pop out that Atlas Fallen, you know what I mean? And let's see, we also are just coming back from break. We were off last week for Thanksgiving. We couldn't really figure out a time to do a recording. So we are here now, though, doing it on a Thursday instead of a Friday. And we're going to do things a little bit different this week. Just want to test it out, see what you all think. Today, we are doing the news in and of itself as its own segment. So Fraser will be joining us later, but as a different episode that we will drop on Friday. And that will kind of just be a more of us hanging out and talking and just bullshitting basically. And this is going to be what you're watching right now is just going to be strictly news. So if you like this setup, let us know. If you're not feeling it, you're not vibing with it, we'll just go right back to what we have been doing throughout October, where we just kind of do our what's going on with everybody in the first 20 minutes, and then we go right into the news. So, yeah, just let us know what you think. Give us your feedback. And again, said it once before, I'll say it again. We're building this with you guys. We want this to be a team thing, not we're just making a thing. So, all right, with that all being said, let's see. Now we get straight into the most useless. Oh, and we'll have steamy review time with Russell as well, right, Russell?
yeah, I think we didn't do it a few weeks ago, and so I
Yeah.
still think I have those pulled up, so I can just run off of those if
Okay,
you want.
okay. Cool, 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 cool. So, without further ado, it is time to get into the most useless news segment. And then, does anybody know why it's called the most useless news segment? Is it because Fraser usually
No,
does
Nathan, why
that?
don't you tell us?
Well, I'll tell you why it's called the most useless news segment. Because if you were following the gamersocialclub.ca on all social media platforms and checking in regularly on the website, you would have already known this news. So let's dive right into it. The Indiana Jones reviews are out. And let me tell you the Metacritic score for it. So, on Metacritic, it has landed at a 5 out of 100. No, it's landed at 86, generally favorable. Uh, let's see, who are these top critics here? We got Games.cz gave it a 100%. Magnificent, immersive start and a thoughtful action adventure game that doesn't bend the original to suit its needs of the game's genre, but the opposite. Probably the most faithful adaptation of indie's adventure we've ever played, in which you can spend dozens of hours and still discover something new. And then Gaming Bible gave it a 90. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has fortune and glory in spades. In the words of Indy, if you want to be a good archaeologist, you got to get out of the library. This homage, lovingly crafted by Machine Games, takes you on an adventure of a lifetime, not as a casual viewer, but as an intrepid explorer himself. And then let's see, IGN. Here's Pure Xbox gave it a 60. Ever since we caught wind of Machine Games making an Indiana Jones title, we've been very excited about Prospect, but ultimately we're a little disappointed in the final product. The overall experience isn't bad, and it successfully sells the Indiana Jones fantasy, but the gameplay elements were just don't match. I'm sorry, guys, but the gameplay elements here just don't match up to the vibe of a fun time indie adventure. The pacing is all out of whack. The open stealth driven levels don't work in context of Indiana Jones romp, and game feels at odds with itself overall. We're always up for trying something different and for teams breaking genre tropes, but in the end, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is at its most fun in fleeting moments, which is a shame considering the amount of care and attention that's been put in adapting this famous franchise. Let's go ahead and move on over to Open Critic here, where the top critic average is 87 and 91% of critics recommend it. Eurogamer here says it's smart, fun, and so very it's smart, fun, and so very Indiana Jones. The Great Circle is a stealth action tour de force that marks a bold new era for Machine Games. And then IGN, Luke Riley gave it a 9 out of 10, an irresistible and immersive global treasure hunt, and a far and away the best indie story this century. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle doesn't belong in a museum. It belongs on your hard drive where you can play the heck out of it. And let's see. I'm trying to find a less appealing. I want to try to find one of the lower ones because I've read most of these higher ups. My gosh, okay, so on Metacritic it's mainly just higher ups. That the one I read you by Pure Xbox was definitely the lowest one I've seen so far, because on Open Critic they're mostly all glowing. I don't see one on here that's lower than a 4 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10. Let's go ahead and let's see. Here's a 10 out of 10 by Tech Raptor. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle delivers an action-packed and entertaining indie adventure, the likes of which we haven't seen in over. Oh, I think this is. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm reading the same one over from Metacritic, so it's posted on both places. Gotcha. All right. So, with all of that being said, Marcus, how you feeling about this? Were you planning on playing Indiana Jones?
I was planning on playing it. I grew up in the '90s. I was born in the middle of the '80s. So, been an Indiana Jones. Kind of grew up watching Indiana Jones from the movies to the I think they had a show. I remember the Young Indy show. I'm a little bit of a fan. I like the series and everything like that. So I was excited when they were announced they were making the game. Now, as much as I do love Machine Games, I was a little taken back when they said it was going to be first person. Now, granted, I know Machine Games, that's what they do. Wolfenstein, if you haven't played it, those are pretty good games. I was just a little, I'm like, we're going to get a first person indie game? Like, I don't know. So I am so glad to hear that the reviews are like glowing. and I will be checking this out. I'm probably gonna be streaming this, but I will be checking this out, man. I can't wait. I didn't pay for the extra to get it early, so I'll just wait till when it drops. I think either was it Sunday or whatever it drops. I'll be playing it day when it drops. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that the early drop is on Friday, and so it's like on the 6th, and then that gives you 3 days advance, so the 9th. So whenever the 9th is, I think that's either Sunday or Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday.
The 9th is Monday. However, if you're on the West Coast in the States, I think it's like 4 or 5 p.m. on Sunday.
Okay.
Something like that.
And then, so that's cool that you've got a history with Indiana Jones. Did you see this coming from Machine Games? Like, did those two things just kind of like click in your head? Like when you're like Machine Games and Indiana Jones, two things that I love, perfect.
I did not. Once again, I give Machine their credit because they make some good games. But once again, their history is a first-person solid games, and I knew like the action and stuff like that. It was there, but once again, I was not. When they announced it was coming from Machine, I was like, I don't. They're gonna be able to pull this off. So you got to wait and see.
Yeah. I was the exact same way. There is nothing about it that like screamed, "Oh, I gotta check this out." Now that I'm seeing the reviews, I'm like, "Oh, maybe I should drop what I'm doing just to get in on this conversation." Especially since it is good, because if I'm being honest, my money was on like maybe 7, best like case scenario, 8 out of 10. But I was exactly like you. I'm really hoping for a solid experience.
Yeah.
I love Uncharted. I really love Tomb Raider, and anything that's going to be in that category, I'm interested in it. And I did watch Indiana Jones growing up. I don't know if I ever got to that point as some other people, though, in the sense of I held Indiana Jones to the standard of putting it up there with Star Wars or putting it up there with like Batman. I don't know. Like, I feel like when people talk about Indiana Jones, they really love Indiana Jones. I don't think I ever got there.
Yeah, I was like, once again, I was a fan of the series. I enjoyed the movies. If I was just passing by perusing on TV and it so happened to be one of the movies was on, hey, let me stop and watch this. You know what I'm saying? It's indie. So, but it was like like you said, compared to maybe other fandoms like Star Wars or Star Trek, something like that. I wouldn't put it up that high, but I I enjoy the series. I'm a fan of it, but I'm not like. I'm like one of those.
Yeah.
Just super excited by it. But once again, I am so glad to hear the reviews are going.
Me too.
And they're good.
Me too. Here's my thing. Do you think we would have been more excited? Like me and you, do you think we would have been more excited for this if it wasn't for the fact that it was like, oh, so they're not working on Wolfenstein 3? Because that was kind of my first thought. And I was like, ugh. And I think if I didn't have that feeling, it would have opened me up to being more excited for Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I can see that because, like I say, I still feel like Wolfenstein 3 is coming. It's
really
coming.
Hope so.
It's just and now that they're finished with Indy and looks like Indy is doing well, like that just means there's more money and more budget to go towards Wolfenstein 3.
Yeah,
so that's how I look at it. But yeah.
That's true. That is very true. Yeah. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you love to see creators stepping out of their comfort zone to do something new and succeeding very well. Because, I mean, again, who knows where this could lead? Could this lead to more Indiana Jones games, or could this lead to them being more adventurous and trying out even different things other than Indiana Jones and Wolfenstein? And we're going to kind of get into that a little bit with the Elden Ring topic. But Russell, what are your thoughts and feelings on all this Indiana Jones stuff? Or do you even have any thoughts and feelings on it? Or do you have feelings in general? I'm pretty sure Russell's frozen.
I say he might be. I was like, hold up, he didn't move, he didn't nod. Yeah, he might be, unless he's just deep off in the game. He might be froze.
Well, see, I could see his emulator and his glasses. And I don't think the emulator is moving. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's
Nah,
frozen.
he's frozen. Yeah, he's definitely frozen.
I was like, he's
The thing
either
is, does he
ignoring me.
know? Does he know he's frozen?
I
That's the
don't
other.
think
That's
he
the other. That's
does.
the
I
that's
was
the
getting ready to
question.
message him through Discord, but then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm recording this on Discord. Hold on. I'm going to message him from my phone here. That is hilarious. Now, do you feel like, while I'm messaging Russell, do you feel like over the weekend, is it going to be Indiana Jones or is it going to be Marvel Rivals?
So I will say this. Um, Indie is an experience that you're gonna have some time with because it is a single player game. So you'll be able to jump in Indie, and then when Marvel Rivals release, you'll jump in that. I honestly think it's hard to say. I want to say Indie, but my head is like it's Marvel Rivals. And
Yeah.
granted, both of them are they both high name properties. Like I said, both of them basically are Disney properties now. Uh, Indie and
That's
Marvel. So
true. I didn't think about that.
yeah, both of them are Disney properties. But I really think with a lot of the hype around Marvel Rivals, you're gonna have a lot of people with jumping in day one, jumping in over the weekend, and then once again, who says you can't do both? You can
Yeah.
jump in Marvel Rivals for a couple of matches and then jump back in Indie. So it's possible. I think Marvel Rivals is probably going to be the big thing coming out of the coming out of the weekend on Monday or whatever. So
Yeah, yeah, that is true. I'm really excited for both as well. But you're right. Who says you gotta do just one? And I
yeah,
think me and Dano are both that way of like we've got to just do one game at a time. Now, typically, I'll have a multiplayer game that I like hop back into as I'm doing a single player, but with uh ever since we started this website and my time's getting more and more divided, the more I'm like, if I want to experience everything, I'm gonna have to start breaking my rules and just like take a break. Because like officially, I'm sure I'll talk about it more like later when we're just hanging out or bullshitting or whatever. But like I'm putting down Dragon Age like for like as a break because
yeah,
I can't play it. Like every time I was messaging Dano about it like a week ago, I'm like, every time I pick it up, it's been like a week since I played it last. So then I'm like, wait, where am I? What's going on? And I'm kind of lost. And then by the time I even like somewhat start to get back into it, I'm putting it down and not playing it again for another week. So I've just kind of been, whenever I do find myself with the time, I've been playing Call of Duty multiplayer still. Just,
yeah.
dude,
I get that.
do you think that Marvel Rivals is going to fulfill all your multiplayer needs for the foreseeable future?
So I I enjoy some hero shooters. I'm more of a Call of Duty guy,
Yeah.
but I played Overwatch, try Apex. They're nice. I'm assuming with the Marvel characters and what they're doing, as for me, I doubt it. And
Yeah.
because I like what it is, but I'm not like a hero shooter type of guy. But for those people, it's going to be interesting to see if they'll have the balance to be able to have the balanced characters, things of that nature. Because once a game gets that can run a lot of people away if the game is not balanced. Characters are too overpowered, things of that nature. So it's going to be interesting to see how well it goes. Um, it was another discussion going around. Will this take the place of Overwatch? Will this knock
Mm.
Overwatch out? And right now, I don't see that.
Yeah.
It may be able to run alongside Overwatch and Apex, and have its core people, but I don't think it is gonna just be the Overwatch killer that some people may be thinking it might be.
Right. Much like X Defiant was supposed to kill Call of Duty, right?
Correct.
Probably wouldn't compare X Defiant to Marvel Rivals, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, they don't want.
Overwatch is such an established IP. Is the point? It's that thing of Overwatch has been around. It is successful, and while it might not be as successful as it used to be, it still holds weight. It's, it's still got a name under it. Now, granted, I think the whole reason people are thinking Marvel could kill it is, the fact that Marvel's a bigger IP. But I don't see that being a sole reason, especially going up against a game that went from nothing to being an MLG game. So that's saying something about the quality of that game. Russell, what are you thinking about Indiana Jones?
So I assume I'm back.
You are back. You are back.
Sorry about that.
You're fine.
Apparently live with someone that doesn't understand how the TV works, and they
Oh no.
they're trying to watch Amazon Prime football, and they thought restarting the router would help, even though it's the app that's crashing. So anyway, so they decided to unplug the router and plug it back in. But anyway, that's irrelevant. Indiana Jones. So I, as many people in the Discord know, had zero interest in this game. So much so that I think at one point I posted in there that am I the only one that has no interest in this whatsoever? Also one of the few that wasn't off-put by it being first person for whatever reason. I remember when the first trailer launched and people saw that, like, I think there was just an assumption for some reason that it would be, like, I don't know how much I should talk about console wars, but I find it funny that, like, if third person's just your preference, that's fine, but when you see everyone that say that, like, no, they don't want Xbox to be another PlayStation, and then they do something like this and put a game in first person, and then everyone starts comparing it to Tomb Raider and Uncharted, and they want it in third person, that's just stupid. Anyway, I'm veering off into right field. I had no interest in this. I wasn't even I've been unsubbed from Game Pass for a month or two. Stalker 2 brought me back to Game Pass because I wanted to play it, but it was so buggy I didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
Which thankfully is getting fixed day by day. So the full release will actually, ironically enough, be on my birthday. Well, I guess technically a day before my birthday because I'm on the West Coast, so I'll get it at some point in the PM on Sunday. But I think I'm going to give it a shot because why the hell not? It's on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting to get back into Game Pass because of Stalker 2, but I saw it and I was like, oh god. Anyway, that's the conversation for another day. I will give it a shot. I'm a little surprised it's doing as well as it is. Obviously, it's not even 5:30 for me on Saturday, so the reviews have only been going up for like an hour and a half, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad it's doing well. Having more games is always a good thing. I mean, whether or not I'll enjoy it, we'll see. I'm not gonna pay for extra like early access on this or anything like that. I don't have.
Yeah.
I am an indie fan. I like the first 3 movies. Temple of Doom is my favorite, actually. And then I actually liked. I know a lot of people shouldn't. I liked Crystal Skull.
I actually haven't even seen that one yet.
Oh, you haven't?
Me too.
I heard the one after Crystal Skull was dog shit, and that was from people that actually really liked Crystal Skull. So I don't. I don't know.
Haven't seen the newest.
But yeah, Bethesda and all the studios that they own tend to be like first-person action games, so I don't know why anyone thought this would be in third person. But
I think it is that thing of you hear the genre, and have we really seen much outside of that genre that isn't third person? Because I mean, I know for me it was that thing of I think Tomb Raider, I think Uncharted. So then I'm like,
you might be right there. I mean, I've only ever really played Tomb Raider and Uncharted as far as rating the tombs goes. So is there even any other? There's got to be other games that are in that genre.
Like, I kind of even wonder if it's a little bit that Concord effect of people see the CGI trailer and they're immediately thinking, oh, this is the next cinematic from PlayStation. This is going to be a bomb. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy. And then they find out what genre it is, and then they're like, oh, we don't want any more Overwatch. Like, so then it was like dead to them on arrival.
Yeah, so I
So I kind
that
of,
brings up another conversation. All I will say when it comes to the first CG trailers, people just need to stop getting so excited for that.
yeah.
Um, I know a lot of
I
people. Now
agree.
this is a little different. I know even a lot of people were excited about the first GTA trailer that came out a year ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
year
that was
now.
completely CG. I don't think there was any gameplay in there at all. So like you're not seeing. Don't get too excited about the resolution until you actually see some gameplay. And
Yeah.
I would say the same. I would say the same thing about just getting too excited about a game in general. If you see something like Gears of War or Halo or Uncharted, like that's a little different. You kind of know what's coming. But as far as like a new IP or something, like I would back off on making too many assumptions, and maybe that's what people had the issue with.
Yeah. Um, well, let's go ahead and move right into. I kind of want to migrate into the Elden Ring conversation because I feel like we kind of touched on it a little bit already. Um, so let me go ahead. I'm not properly prepared here. I just realized. So, what's the name of the guy who? Shoot, Marcus. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
The
What's his name?
is it Miyazaki? Is
Yes,
that
Yeah.
yes, thank you,
okay?
thank you.
Yeah,
So apparently the other day he was talking about how they're not really interested. Yes, Hidetaki. I don't know how to pronounce it. Hidetaki Miyazaki. Yes. So he was talking about how Elden Ring 2 is not really on in the cards for them, or like that's not what they're planning on making right now. Harry had reported this on this a couple of days ago on the website, and he quoted, "We're not really considering developments such as Elden Ring 2. However, he did make it clear that the studio is open to returning to their most successful games, quote, some form in the future, unquote." So, you know, here's my question. The biggest question I had from reading this article is, do they need an Elden Ring 2?
Uh, so I'll butt in here a little bit. While Elden Ring is a Dark Souls game, that doesn't mean that. I mean, do they need an Elden Ring 2? No. They have plenty of stuff that they can. I don't. They don't really need to do like a direct sequel, as I'm assuming that's what an Elden Ring 2 would be. I'm not as ingrained with the Dark Souls as other people are. I played the original Demon Souls, I played Dark Souls 3, and I played Elden Ring. So I can't speak to the storyline, but I'm looking at the article now and I'm kind of scanning it, and all it really sounds like is the way I'm taking it is they're not planning a direct sequel to Elden Ring. That doesn't really worry me. I would assume a Dark Souls game of some kind is in development, along with a new Armored Core game, probably, since that launched last year, or at least maybe that's in the cards. Maybe that's not in development yet. I don't know where they're at, if they're doing DLC for that or whatever. That's neither here nor there. Um, so I'm sure they're going to be working on both franchises, but I don't think Elden Ring needs a new, you know, another game necessarily. Um, this is coming from a guy that's probably only like 3/4 of the way through the game, so so keep that in mind too. Don't shoot me, but unless the game unless the game and DLC end on a major cliffhanger, and even then, make them wait for it, make them want it.
Um, Marcus, what is your thoughts? Were you an Elden Ring player? Were you into it? No.
I was not. Yeah, I'm not a big Souls guy.
Okay.
But I know how much I know how much the fandom is, and I know Elden Ring brought in a lot of people that weren't initially Souls like people. But for me, as far as do they need to do an Elden Ring 2? Nah, they don't need to. Now, would you have loyal fans. They're gonna be clamoring for Elden Ring too. I don't think it. I don't think the DLC from because I have one of my cousins. He played it. He loves it. He's beat the game and he's beat the DLC. I don't think it ends on a cliffhanger, but I know there's still a lot of lore and other stuff in the game that they can bring about in another game. So, do they need to? Nah, but like I said, they can. But I know from I think that interview from Miyazaki, he was saying that they have like two properties, two new IPs or something that they're working on currently, or probably two other IPs that they're working on currently. And from when FromSoft sit back and you let them do what they want or do what they normally do, we get really good things. You got they had Sekiro, um, then Elden Ring, and now you had the DLC. So let them just do what they want. I mean, they do a really good job of like making games that bring people in, making games that people enjoy, no matter how hard they are, no matter how many times you break a controller. they
Yeah.
they make those they make really good games, man. And like I said, I don't think they need to do an Elden Ring 2, but I'm pretty sure I would hope though that you would want to continue that story or give your fans more because, like I said, Elden Ring was an amazing game and it sold. And not only did it do well, but it sold well, and that's something that's you got to think about it. I get at a point as a business, you want to make stuff you love to make. I get that, but also you want to make stuff that makes money. And not saying that other games won't make money, but you got to think about how well that game sold, and how well the DLC sold. So I would assume they will also maybe sometime in the future they would want to revisit that IP.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that had me thinking. So it sold, let's see, just you can always trust good old Wikipedia, right? It's
It's
saying
like 15 or 20 million, I think, somewhere around there.
right now it's when you Google it, Wikipedia pops up and says 25 million copies. And let's see. I'm just trying to find a more reliable source
Yeah,
than
yeah.
that. But yeah, no, I'm with Russell. Like the last I had heard. Okay, yep. All right, June 13th, 2024, by IGN, Elden Ring reaches 25 million units sold. So yeah, and that's the thing is I agree with you, and I feel like any other game, it is the thing of, well, we see that this title worked. And so, yeah, of course, it's a no brainer. We want a sequel. And this is going to, you know what? This is properly going to set us up for the next topic. But, we're, of course, we want a sequel to this highly successful game, right? But at the same time, Elden Ring was a brand new thing, brand new IP that sold 25 million copies, and that was solely off the back of Miyazaki, like in his name and what it means to be the guy who makes Souls games. So it's like,
Correct.
you almost wonder. I mean, and what's crazy, the thing that I've been thinking a lot about this week, whenever I heard about this news breaking, is the fact of when this game came out, I talk a lot about the casual gamer, right? The casual gamer who's just out here playing, Call of Duty, just playing football. And all of my casual gamer friends, the casual gamer buys 3 to 5 games a year, like that at most, I'm wanting to say, or maybe it's 2 to 3, but
Maybe not even that.
maybe not even that.
I think
Yeah.
it might be 2 to 3.
Yeah, I think it's 2 to 3. So, with it being 2 to 3, most casual gamers that I know in my life bought Elden Ring just to check it out because so many people were talking about this and so many people were checking this out. And, Bloodborne has had this staying power. Not that it even hit super hard right at first, but it's like it's grown this love and adornment over the years. And especially, people were like, oh, I loved Elden Ring, and people really seem to talk about this Bloodborne, so they gone back and checked it out. So it makes me wonder, like, and at the end of the day, like, I think ultimately, yeah, I agree with you that no, you don't need an Elden Ring 2, because at the end of the day, I think whatever they do next it's just going to find success. It's going to sell mind-blowing copies because it's coming from Miyazaki. It is Bloodborne 2. It has that fan base that is so powerful to be like, hey, everybody needs to keep an eye on this game. Even if you're not into this genre, keep an eye on it. And people fucking kept an eye on Elden Ring. You know what I mean? They came, showed up, and 25 million copies. And again, like I said, to put it in perspective, that is a brand new IP. You know, we were just talking about Indiana Jones and the Marvel Rivals and the power IP has versus Overwatch and all this stuff. And then you talk about Elden Ring and now it's a no name and what turned into something overnight. Well, not overnight, but you know what I mean. Anyways, let's go ahead and move right on into the X-Defiant game being shut. No. I'm gonna end with that because, like I said earlier, I think we would be better off going into the Astro Bot news because I covered this morning, and it's something that I was really excited to hear about earlier this week. But Astro Bot, there was an interview done by the BBC with I can't remember what his name is. I'll look it up here. But there was an interview done with the BBC with the two CEOs, Herman Holst and shoot, I'm really bad with the names today, guys. Sorry. But basically the two CEOs of Sony and Hideaki Nishino. Is that how you pronounce it? Nishino? Hideaki Nishino. So they were both talking with, please hold. Tom Gherkin at the BBC. So they were talking with him during the 30th anniversary, right, about just the different successes. And they talked about a lot of different things in that interview. They talked about Concord. They talked about the PS5 Pro money and how much the flack they got for it being $700 and all that stuff. So there was a lot of interesting stuff to come out of that. But my two takeaways from it was the fact that, let's see, I want to pull up the quotes here. Herman Holst was quoted saying, "I cannot express how happy we are with the reception of Astro Bot." And then Hideaki Nishino at a later point was talking about how they're always exploring various, quote, "We're always exploring various options for how players can play games," unquote. And then he also talked about how PlayStation Portal is, quote, "a huge success," unquote. Now, to me, those were the two biggest takeaways because we've known, and Dano wrote an article about it earlier in the month of November about Astro Bot selling 1.5 million copies. And with us just talking about Elden Ring selling 25 million copies and that being such a huge success. And then you look at Astro Bot and you're like, 1.5? Like, is that really a success? Well, you got to remember, it is an exclusive. It's only on PlayStation 5 right now, not even PlayStation 4. So it's like it is limited to its reach or whatnot. It has less of a reach is what I'm trying to say. But and it got really good reception. It got really good. It's been nominated for multiple Game of the Years. I think the question has been, is 1.5 million enough to consider it a success that they would consider moving forward into making more Astro Bot, into keeping that studio alive? Because the thing that I pointed out in my article is, Tango Gameworks was shut down. And Hi-Fi Rush was a success and it didn't stop it from closing down. There's been multiple games this year that have come out and been very successful, but the studios still got shut down. So I think there's still kind of, for me personally, been a looming fear that the studio could get shut down who made Astro Bot, or that we might not see more Astro Bot and that it'd just be too much of a niche thing or seen as a niche thing. But we are seeing that, here the freaking CEOs of the company are really impressed and really loved this as far as Astro Bot goes. And then the same thing goes with the PlayStation Portal. I think there's been a lot of doubt surrounding the PlayStation Portal, considering PSVR 2, PS Vita, things of that nature. So I think for us PlayStation fans, it's hard to know what they're going to do and where they're going to go with it, right? So it's good to hear straight from the horse's mouth that no, we view this as a success. It's working for us. We are going to keep exploring what works for us. We are continuing support, which is a big thing that the Sony players needed to hear after PSVR 2, right? So, Marcus, you got a PlayStation Portal, so I'll let you take up on this. How you feeling about all this?
So with the update of the cloud streaming added to PlayStation Portal, that changes a lot. Before then, I've had because there issue with it where it wouldn't connect or it wouldn't pull up, wouldn't connect to a PlayStation. Like I had to put it on my phone's hotspot just to get it to work. But since the update and since the streaming update, and like I really don't even have to pull from my have my PlayStation. I don't have to access my PlayStation and all. I can just stream. And I've been playing T-Loop T-Loop Part 1, and it looks amazing on the portal. It looks really good. It runs really well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If when we finish it from mine, I have to go and get it and show you. But it looks really well. It plays amazing, man. Everything is right there, and it's the remastered version, so that adds to it. But the portal before, like I said, I wasn't a big like I'm not a big hey go get a portal. I wasn't one of those guys.
Yeah.
Even with me getting one, I'm like I might trade this in. But ever since the cloud streaming aspect has been added to it, game changer.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things they could have done for the portal. Like now you don't have, as long as you got a PlayStation Plus account, you don't have to have a PS5. Like long as you that's basically what happened. That's what they did by adding that. As long as you have the premium tier, I should say that. As long as you have the premium PlayStation Plus, you don't have to have a PS5. You that changed the game. I think that's amazing. And what you were saying about Team Asobi and Astro Bot, and I'm glad to hear as well. I don't want to. I like Astro Bot. I haven't played it. I played the the tech demo that comes with your PS5 or whatever. I played that initially, but I'm glad to see that they are getting the recognition and that they that they need and that they should have. Like Astro Bot is a really good game from what I've heard. I haven't played it, but once again, I've heard nothing but everybody I know that's played Astro Bot, they talk about how good it is. And I'm not sure how much money they spent on Astro Bot. That could be another reason why they're still considering it a success, and the fact that it's being nominated for a lot of these awards when you had on the opposite side of that where they spent hundreds of millions of dollars on Concord and it was like dead in the water once it was released. Like it didn't even, so I assume Team Asobi, I'm assuming that Team Asobi is safe. We may see another Astro Bot. Once again, I don't know what the budget was for Astro Bot, but I'm sure it wasn't as much as Concord. But I'm glad to see it's getting the recognition. I'm glad to see Team Asobi is safe. And the update to the PlayStation Portal is a game changer. It really is. It enables some stuff and it allows you, like I said, I don't have to worry about my PlayStation my portal not connected to my PlayStation, and everything it runs smooth. I haven't had any real connectivity issues with doing the streaming, so the cloud streaming. So I'm just waiting on that. The more stuff they add to cloud streaming, the more stuff I'll be able to play. So,
and then Russell, what's your thoughts on all this? Now, actually, you know what? This question goes for both of you guys. But the PlayStation Vita 2, do you think that they are looking at that more seriously? I mean, this is an ongoing conversation, especially with as much talk there is about Xbox making a handheld. And I mean, of course, it's just the word on the street is yeah, like that's more than likely going to be what's happening. But do you think that the success that they see with PlayStation Portal, do you think that that means we're going to see more iterations of a PlayStation Portal as more of a companion to the console? Or do you think the fact that they are adding the ability, like Marcus is saying, to basically not have a PlayStation 5 but use this accessory as its own PlayStation, do you think that's more indicative of us seeing a PS Vita 2?
Um, Marcus, do you have anything to say about a potential? No. Because the thing is, I have two PSPs and I have a PlayStation Vita and I have a Steam Deck, so I have a lot to say about the possibility of a handheld. So I'm gonna let Marcus go first on the
Okay.
PlayStation Vita thing, and then I'll hit like all three of those news points really fast.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate it. So I, I've never owned a Vita or a PSP, but I will say, because the Xbox was coming out with a handheld, Switch 2's dropping, hopefully, probably dropping next year. Like, you got the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, and the other stuff that's out there. So if you're gonna do another iteration of a handheld, and granted the Portal is nice, and the cloud streaming does change it and give it a different aspect, and give you more things to do. But something to be able to as a companion piece to the console where you can actually play your games natively. Like, you don't have to be connected to it. Like, so if I'm playing God of War on my PlayStation, and I can on my PS5 or PS6 or whatever it is, and I can leave once I finish doing it, or once I gotta go somewhere, I can just pick up on my whatever handheld, whatever it's called, get it, go there, and continue playing, and not necessarily have to be connected to the internet, not necessarily have to be connected to Wi-Fi, and still pick up. It'll I can save that way when I come back to my game, connect back to my Wi-Fi, or whatever. I can, if they can put that in there, that would be amazing. So I'm assuming that's what this handheld or this next handheld they're doing would do, because you got a Portal. You don't necessarily need another handheld unless you're gonna be able to play games natively on that device.
And then Russell.
Okay. So me, first Astro Bot, what was it, 1.5 million sales? I mean,
Yeah,
that's always good to see. I'm actually a 2D or 2D, 2D and 3D platforming fan. So this is probably the first game that released on the PlayStation 5 where I've actually been jealous of PS5 owners, and because of its integration, a little rocky as to whether, or the integration with the controller, unsure
yeah,
about whether or not it'll come to PC. Hopefully it does, but that's neither here nor there. So good to see that. Anyone that thinks like 1.5, 2 million for something like this early on is like a failure, I don't think has been paying attention. It's probably since, I would say, at least the PS2 era, any 3D platformer that's not Mario tends to not do so well.
yeah.
It's just the way it works. At least from what I've seen. And I'm sure someone can get in the comments of this fucking thing and like roast me on that, but whatever. Um, so good to see that. As far as the portal goes, I don't know if I would say that, in my opinion, that less than 500,000 sales is successful, but I also don't know what they were expecting. So
Well, I think
that
that's my thing about this whole article. I don't
yeah.
mean to interrupt you, but like that's the thing is like no, it's not a lot of sales, and that's kind of been like okay, so is this successful? And so I guess
Yeah.
that 470 some 400K something sales is viewed as successful to them. So I would say they weren't expecting much from it. Sorry,
No,
back to you.
I would say not, because and all companies like this um tend to only talk about something if they have something to brag about, specifically with Sony and sales. And it's funny you brought up the Vita in your article, because I know firsthand that the last couple of years, I think it was, that the Vita was still around in production. We don't really know what the sales were, because they folded the Vita sales into the PlayStation Portal together. So that's how you got to keep in mind this thing sold 80 million. The Vita sold either under 20 million or slightly over 20 million, depending on who you talk to. But yeah,
Gotcha.
so that's how. And we could talk about a lot of reasons as to why that is. I think a lot of them have to do with Sony, but that's besides the point. Um, I think the idea of a native handheld would be really cool. Actually, to back up for a minute, the Portal and cloud gaming, I do think that's really cool. As someone that really wants to play Astro Bot, it tempts me a little bit. The issue with I have with that is I don't really like. So as someone who doesn't own a PS5, the idea of buying a device where I have to have an online service to play anything is a little worrying. The appeal to cloud gaming, as most companies have formed it and advertised it to you. Like I remember when like xCloud and Google Stadia were new hot shit. The idea or the appeal was that you could just use your phone or you could use a cheap laptop like I'm on here or whatever and just get decent performance, or at least that's the idea. So the Portal kind of steps away from that a little bit. Um maybe if so you have to have the higher tier, correct? The PlayStation Plus or whatever,
Yeah,
Premium,
you
yep.
have to
premium.
have the premium tier.
So
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. As of right now, you can only stream what, like 40 or 50 PS5 games, and that's it.
I
Something
believe
like that.
it's actually, I think it's 120 because when I was writing this, I had to go back and look at Addie's
But
article.
it's strictly PlayStation 5 games, correct?
Yeah.
Because as someone that doesn't want that
And
to be
this,
tied to a device
oh,
that you have to have a service to get any use out of, because I've noticed some people have actually hacked this device, and it's pretty worthless as like hacking it, because it has next to no internal memory.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so as something that's like basically tied to a service, if you don't have a PS5, if they take that and then open the library up to like the PS1 and the PS2 and the PS3 games that they have on that service, I would be a little more, that'd be a little more appealing to me.
They
Um,
do. They have, not to cut you off, but they do have like certain like PS2 games, PS3 games. They're not all like I know, like I think Dino Crisis is on there. Like other older games are on there that are available to play through
so
the cloud streaming.
so you can, those older games, you can stream them from the cloud without any PS5 involvement whatsoever. Correct?
Yeah, as long as you have the
Okay.
premium tier.
Okay, so take this streaming library and build it up, because I don't know how many games are included in their PlayStation services and whatnot.
Over
But I would,
120,
Yeah,
so
it's
so
yeah.
so so they've taken it and they've literally just opened up the service to whatever the hell is on there. You can stream basically
pretty
then.
much. Yep.
It sounds like.
Yep.
Hmm.
Okay, so that 120 seems kind of low.
Yeah, well, it says over 100. So, according to Addie on thegamersocialclub.ca, over 120 PS5 games from PlayStation Plus game catalog, including Dave the Diver, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Ghost, Monster Hunter Rise, Ratchet and Clank. They will be accessible streaming at 1080p, 60 frames per second, DualSense features, PlayStation Plus cloud storage. So that's the only things I'm seeing listed here. And then yeah, the premium tier does have like Marcus was saying, it does have quite a bit of older games and stuff as well, because that's kind of the whole shtick of premium tier, is that you have access to PS4 games and PS1 games and things of that nature. Metal Gear Solid, I'm pretty sure Metal Gear Solid's on there.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing like a solid list of how many are actually on the service itself. If say you're doing this on a PS5, which is kind of what I'm looking for, kind of what I'm getting at. So I've got a Reddit post here that says there's 802 games as of 2 years ago. Uh, but it doesn't really specify whether that's plus, whether that's essential, or whether that's premium. For arguing sake, we'll say that it's premium. So, assuming this is correct and they have somewhere around 800 games on the service altogether, the more games that you make accessible through the portal on that list, the more appealing it gets.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and as far as like, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna go as far as to like make it so you can buy games that you can stream, because I think that's kind of the debacle that something like Google Stadia gets into.
Yeah.
And one of a laundry list of reasons as to why that failed. The biggest being Google. But anyway, I could talk about, I could do a half an hour episode about the failure of Google Stadia just by myself. But I did to say I've been interested in the concept of cloud gaming for a while now is kind of understating it. I think it's a really cool idea that's hamstrung by the United States' internet infrastructure, but that's a topic for another day. But it'd be cool if we got a Vita 2 or a PSP 3 or whatever the hell you want to call it. I think I think it sounds like that's maybe where we're headed, but we're still a ways off. Just the only things that Sony, don't be stupid, Sony. Number one, no proprietary memory sticks. That's one of the things that killed the Vita, and no half-ass support this time, which is also what killed
Yeah.
the Vita. But if they're able to play PS4 and PS5 games natively on it, then I think that will be less of an issue. So
Absolutely.
anyway, I don't know how long I babbled for.
Oh no, you're fine, man. Babble away.
Yeah, I'm passionate about my handhelds.
I
My only,
Go ahead.
I was like, my only question is, like, they talked about it, but when would you bring release that? We're at this point, we're basically on the back end of the PS5. PS5 has maybe maybe 4 more years, maybe. I think at the most it's three, maybe 3.5. But do you bring that out now or drop it? Drop that a handheld in 2 years, and you're only able to use it for so long with the PS5 and the PS6 drop. It's like, unless you're gonna make it to where it can be compatible with both systems, this current one and the new one, you might as well just wait, and put in your time and your development, all that, and wait until you drop the PS6. It can be, like, once again, like you mentioned, a companion along with the PS6.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that too, because it is the thing of, do you want to invest $200+ into something that's going to last you for 3 or 4 more years? And that's kind of my thing, is like, whenever I dropped as much money as I did when the consoles came out, I'm like, I know that I'm investing into something that I'm going to get countless hours out of these things over the course of the next 8 years. And that is the thing of, even if you ever talk to Frazier about whether or not he's interested in a Steam Deck, he's always pretty much like, nah, just because he's like, how long I'm gonna put in $400+ into something that I don't really know the lifetime of this thing. I don't know what my investment is. We at least have enough knowledge about consoles to know, yeah, it's roughly 7-8 years. So it's worth it. That's less than $100 a year at that point.
Well, so the caveat, or I shouldn't even say caveat, the difference with the Steam Deck is, even if, as we're already seeing the Steam Deck, like, it's not able to play all of the newest AAA games. I saw the PC specs for Indiana Jones, and that ain't fucking running on the Steam Deck. I'm sorry, but it's not. But it might boot, it might launch, but you're gonna be getting like 10 or 15 frames a second, maybe.
Yeah.
The difference between a Steam Deck and, like, at least Sony's like older handhelds, and I hope they don't do the handheld this way, where we got like dumbed down versions of bigger AAA games. The difference is, no matter where the AAA space is, if you can keep your Steam Deck running for the next 10 years, there will be indies coming out in 10 years that run on that thing. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
With that, let's go ahead and wrap up here. Russell, I'm gonna give it over to you for Russell's steamy review time. We are still behind the scenes talking about when we're gonna do the game of the year. So we will keep you updated on that. We're still in the process of working on categories and our nominations. So it's taking a little bit longer than I think we expected. So just bear with us. We're going to get there eventually. Just trust us. We will keep you updated as the process goes on. And again, I'm going to immediately upload this. So you're probably going to be getting this Thursday morning. Oh, wait, no, today's Thursday. So you're probably going to get this Friday morning. And over the weekend, whether it be Saturday or Sunday, you'll get the episode of us just bullshitting. And please do not forget to leave us your feedback. Because if I don't know what you want, how can I give you what you want, Steve? All right. Anyways, take it over, Russell.
Okay, yeah, all right. I got these pulled up. Dano is probably gonna slap me for well, I think he had said something about like no excessive sexual content, or maybe.
Oh, no.
We're gonna walk that line a little bit.
I'm pretty sure you're the only one who's told yourself that, maybe.
So 2K 2025. Holy Stutterfest, Batman. Shader cache does nothing. Broken for sure. Is it too much to ask for a working game at launch?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I got to pee on the Flash. 10 out of 10.
Gee, Mitty.
Fallout 76. Good game. Please help. Todd Howard is holding a gun at me. Cyberpunk 2077. You can adjust your penis shape and size. That was a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay.
One of the staples as far as these reviews go now, Grand Theft Auto 5. The results of console peasants beta testing for us. 11 out of 10 would wait 2 years again.
Hey, that's actually a good point.
Many of you may remember last year there was a game around this time that got yeeted from Steam called The Day Before. Well, at least Overwatch 2 will no longer be the worst rated game on Steam.
I'm really glad you saved that one for today's episode. That was perfect.
Hold on here. So I remember picking this because I thought Frazier would get a kick out of this, but he's not here. Farming Simulator 2025. You are making one fucking game for 20 years, and you can't make it, or you can't make proper multiplayer without lags on a 2080 Ti.
Oof, got him.
This is a little long-winded, but Counter-Strike. Things Counter-Strike gave me: money, time, and love. Things Counter-Strike gave me: arthritis, rage, hatred for Russians, Spanish, and Russians. That's weird. Broken keyboard, broken mouse, 9 out of 10 ready, server crashes, low IQ teammates, competitive matches, multilingual cursing. I guess this is a good thing. Lag, cheaters, 24 tick servers, and anxiety. Essentially, Counter-Strike is a greedy woman, but I love her all the time. 11 out of 10 would play again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with all of your steamy reviews. That was great. Thank you, Russell. And then, all right, thank you all so much for joining us for Gamer Social Club News. I've been your host, Nathan, Marcus, and Russell. Thank you. Have a fantastic day, everybody.